trying to invest and grow your wealth while having a lot of debt weighing you down is like trying to run forward but with a parachute on your back. So you'll be trying, but there's gonna be something that is actually pulling you back. There's gonna be backward pressure that will make it very difficult for you to run as effectively or as fast as you would have actually preferred. For us to be able to gauge where you are financially, we look at your net worth. Your net worth is all your assets minus all your liabilities. So as much as you have assets that you're trying to accumulate, but your liabilities are still very, very high, the overall health of your finances is still compromised. Vague goals equals vague results. We try to achieve certain life goals, and we're thinking that putting money in the circle or putting money in a table banking group or in a chama group is the best way to go about this particular goal. In the spirit of return chasing, a lot of us do not even go to the nitty-gritties of the reputation of this company. We have companies that have very horrible reputations, especially here in Kenya, but because they are offering high returns, I'm seeing a lot of Kenyans, especially my Kenyans in the diaspora, putting money there because these people have a marketing budget to appeal to you and to come to you and sell you product ABC. Guys, please use trusted partners, especially when you're starting your journey. A lot of us started with the wrong people, with the wrong companies. We got banned. And that is why no one can convince us to put money in the financial markets. And yet, financial markets have been thriving. Investing is a long game. It's playing chess and not checkers. What's up, good people? Welcome to another episode of Finance Friday. As per usual, I'm your host, Coach Susan, and I'm very happy to have you guys here. I really hope you've been enjoying the past episodes we've actually been doing. 2 weeks ago, we did a video on comparing treasury bills, the SACCOs, and the MMFs, and you guys absolutely loved that video, and I know you got so much education from it. Those were short-term investment comparisons. And then last week, we actually did long-term investment comparisons between stocks and bonds, and that was really, really amazing. So let me know if you've been enjoying that kind of content and if you'd like to see more comparison videos, and I'm gonna make sure to actually produce some for you guys. As per usual, for today's episode, we are shooting at Sarova Panafric. Now, if you don't already know, this is the plug, especially if you are in the Nairobi area. And today I would like to actually highlight Tulia Wellness Center that is located at Sarova Panafric. It's a wellness facility located in Sarova, as I've said. It has a world-class gym, a spa, a swimming pool, sauna, and even a steam room. It's an exclusive facility that is very perfect for people, especially around Upper Hill, State House environment, and even Kilimani. You can visit the gym in the morning before work or even in the evening after work. They have very many activities that you can get to do here, and they have different classes, especially if you're into spin. They also have spin classes. Please make sure to check out Sarova Panafric if you're around this area, or if you would like to use this particular facility. They have different memberships. If you're a corporate, if you're just a group of friends that you would like to get a group rate, or even if you just want to get one a membership as an individual, feel free to check them out. So given the feedback that I actually received from you guys from the previous video, I got quite a number of questions around investing, and I thought that today would be a perfect day to just follow up on those two investing discussions that we had in the past 2 weeks, to give you guys a step-by-step guide on 7 things that I think you need to have already done before you can actively start investing. And I think this is really, really important, because I think when you're very, very excited to invest, you might tend to jump the gun and skip very important stages or phases that you actually need to do before you start investing. So today I thought it would be important to highlight the 7 things that you first of all must do before you can actually start investing. So obviously, and this goes without saying, but I think it is really, really important to mention the importance of an emergency fund. And I think I say this because I realized that from the discussions that I've had with some of you since the previous two videos, a lot of us are actually interested in investing our safety nets. And I wanted to highly discourage this. Now, let me explain what I mean by investing your safety net. I got questions around, I've just started working, I have 100,000 saved, or I have an X amount of money saved, and I actually want to invest the money. And then I would ask the person, do you have, any other money, or is this what you have between you and poverty? And they're like, this is all I have, but I really want this money to work for me and to make me more money. And I want it to make me money very fast. They were really looking for fast and accelerated growth. While that may sound very good on paper, it might actually put you at risk, especially if you're starting to just start your journey into financial freedom. The money that you have if that is all that you have, I know it may not sound exciting or fancy, but you really need to first of all put aside an emergency fund. And the reason we say this is because if you take the 100,000 that you have between you and poverty, or you and riches, like this is all the money that you have, and you decide that you're going to take it and put it in the stock market, because of the fluctuations that we see, especially in the short term when it comes to stock market investing, you might actually need to liquidate money because of an emergency or because of something that really, really needs urgent attention in terms of your finances. But if the market was down at that particular point, even if you wanted to withdraw, you would withdraw at a loss. Or say, for example, you've decided to lock the money in a bond, right? Or even in a special fund. These accounts require you to leave the money there for a longer duration of time. And so that investing your safety net or putting money in an that was supposed to be for emergencies in areas or in money that you can, in avenues that you cannot liquidate is a problem. And actually one of those avenues is even a SACCO. I noticed a lot of us also have just all of our money is in SACCOs, and sometimes for some of the SACCOs, not all of them, for you to actually remove your deposits, you have to take out a loan. So if you got an emergency, then you have to take out a loan. And we are just avoiding taking unnecessary consumer debt. Yes, we have good debt and we have bad debt. And the kind of debt that we want to take is the good debt, the kind of debt that is supporting our wealth creation journey, the kind of debt that is supporting our income generation. You do not want to take loans for consuming. So which is why I really, really encourage you guys to have your money market fund. Now, a simple guideline for this: if you are employed, I would highly recommend that you do at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved aside before you start investing, or rather investing actively. And by actively, I mean a big portion of your money on a monthly basis or on a regular basis is going towards investing. If you're a freelancer like myself, a contracted person or a business person, the recommendation is that you actually do 6 to 12 months of an emergency fund. And we really recommend that you use money market funds for this. The second thing that you need to do before you can actively start investing is managing debt strategically. Now, this doesn't just necessarily mean that you need to clear all of your debt or you need to be completely debt-free before you can start investing. But I'd want you to think of it like this. Trying to invest and grow your wealth while having a lot of debt weighing you down is like trying to run forward, but with a parachute on your back. I don't know if that makes sense, guys. You say you'll be trying, but there's going to be something that is actually pulling you back. There's going to be backward pressure that will make it very difficult for you to run as effectively or as fast as you would have actually preferred. Okay? So this is how I would advise that you manage your debt. The first thing is that you might want to actually look at high interest debt. This is the culprit, especially when it comes to stifling your growth, when it comes to investing. High interest debt is evident in mobile loans. For example, here in Kenya, the mobile loans have the highest interest rate. And then, of course, if you have any credit card debt is also very, very high interest. And then we also have Shylock loans. If you have loans that you owe Shylocks in some of these institutions, credit institutions, they may be very, very high interest debt. Now, the reason I say you want to first of all deal with that is because much as you're trying to invest, a lot of the interests on the high interest debt will actually outpace the interest you're earning in investing. So let's even assume your money is in the money market fund. It's earning you a 9% or it's earning you a 10 or 11%. If your high interest debt is at 17% on the credit card, then you're going to have a problem. You're really not making any progress. What is happening is that you're making 5 steps forward, but 10 steps backward. 5 steps forward, 10 steps backward. So I would highly, highly recommend that you begin to attack high interest debt before you can decide that this money that you have, that you want to invest, is now going to specifically go towards investing. Now, if you have low interest debt, so we are talking things like your help loan, if you had a good mortgage and it's low interest, if it's just your typical circle loans that are not very high interest, you could come up with a plan to pay those loans alongside working on your investment goal. I think those two can go hand in hand. The only thing that really, really prevents you from growing is usually your high interest debt. Because majorly what will happen, again, if anything was ever to happen to your sources of income or your ability to make money, you will actually have to liquidate this money that you thought you were investing so that you can be able to clear some of these loans, because they don't care. They still need their payments. They still need you to pay whether you have an income or not. So I would prioritize high interest debt and try and eliminate as much of it as I can. And then now come up with a plan to invest concurrently as I'm trying to attack my low interest debt. And I think as you do that, you will begin to see very good growth. The reason I say that is because for us to be able to gauge where you are financially, we look at your net worth. Now, what is your net worth? Your net worth is all your assets minus all your liabilities. So as much as you have assets that you're trying to accumulate, but your liabilities are still very, very high, the overall health of your finances is still compromised. So I would definitely recommend that we attack our high interest debt. Now, maybe what you can do on the bare minimum as you're doing this, because now all your money shouldn't only just go towards debt. I've always said, fine, you may not actively invest, but what you can do is that you can begin to just do a simple money market fund that is supposed to do your to be your emergency fund. And the reason we do this is because if another emergency comes up, or if something that needs money comes up and you did not have money stacked away somewhere or stashed away somewhere, what will happen is that this debt that you're trying to get out of, you will actually dig deeper into debt, because now there's this new need that came up, or this new emergency that came up that needs to be attended to. So you may not be investing actively as you're trying to clear your high interest debt, but what you may be doing is that you may be putting a little bit in your money market fund, or as much as you can afford in your money market fund, to give you some buffer, so that even if an emergency comes up, or school fees is due, or car insurance is due, instead of digging deeper into another mobile loan or deeper into another kind of debt to service this thing, you can continue with your debt freedom journey without digging deeper into the debt. All right. The third thing that you want to do before you can actively start investing in all of these exciting assets that we've been learning on this channel is you really need to get clear on what your financial goals are. I always tell my clients that vague goals equals vague results. And I've seen this a lot, because we try to achieve certain life goals, and we're thinking that putting money in the circle, or putting money in a table banking group, or in a chama group is the best way to go about this particular goal. But when I look at what it is that you're trying to achieve, you can't achieve it using that particular thing that you're doing. Like, a lot of people tell me, Coach, I actually really want to get passive income, but you're in chamas. Your money is revolving in merry-go-round chamas, your money is revolving in the table banking. But then one day I'm gonna probably do an episode on table banking. I'm having a lot of conversations, especially with us women who are in table banking arrangements that, in my opinion, some of them are actually not making sense. Please let me know in the comment section, are you in a table banking group? And if you're in a table banking group, I'm very curious how it works in your group. Can you guys do that for me in the comment section? It's really, really going to help me in terms of creating content around that and giving you guys my opinion on some of these groups, because while others seem to be working, some of them seem to, it's almost just like a fancier merry-go-round. Yes, there's the borrowing from the table banking that is causing the funds to grow, but even that growth is questionable, because now what I've seen with a lot of people is that I've had clients tell me, Coach, I'm really trying to get passive income. And when I look at the table banking group, for example, that you're in, all you people do is put money. And then when you put money, you borrow. And then sometimes you may not even need the money, but because you must borrow, you just borrow. So that thing doesn't make sense to me, because sometimes you just don't have anything to do with the money, or whatever it is that you're going to be doing with it, whatever you're going to earn from it is not going to be significant enough for that arrangement to continue and for it to actually to make sense financially. So back to my initial point, that was just a segue. I think it's because yesterday especially I had a conversation around table banking and how we are doing it here in Kenya. But you really need to get clear on your goals. I'm very big on goal-based investing. When you get clear on your goals, it becomes very easy for you to be able to identify what kinds of investments would work for you. I've said this severally on this channel, and I'm actually going to say it again. I know at least 90% of the investments in the market. I have a semblance of good information on them, but I don't do all of them. I've only chosen a few that work for my goals. I looked at my life and I asked myself, what are the important things that I really want to achieve, or I want to see my money do for me? So I thought, okay, I actually need a retirement plan. Then let me see what I can do around that. I now have a 1-year-old that needs education money, that needs diapers, that, we need to come up with how to educate this child. So we made decisions around funding his education. I am big on passive income, especially as a self-employed person. So even with how I'm choosing investment, I'm trying to also curate an investment portfolio that is geared towards giving me passive income in the next maybe 10 to 15 years. So when you start to clarify some of these things, maybe for you want rental income, you want to get dividends, you want to layer bonds in a certain way because you want income 12 months of the year. That's what you need to clarify first. When you clarify what you're working towards, what is my age? When do I want to retire? How many children do I have? How much is their school fees? Do I want passive income? And wanting passive income is not a goal. You want to say, I want passive income of 50,000 every month in the next 3 years. So, in the next 3 years, you need to work around an investment that can begin to generate passive income of 50,000 every month. So you see, even when we're trying to work backwards to come up with what kind of investment would that be that can make you 50,000 every month in the next 36 months, then we can begin to actually make informed decisions. So please get very clear on your goals. I've discouraged my clients from doing this, and I think even on this channel, I've done it again, but I'm going to keep doing it because I care about you people. I care. I want you guys to keep remembering this. Stop asking these questions. Stop meeting total strangers or financial advisors or personal finance coaches or your friends, relatives, acquaintances, and asking them questions like, I have 50K. Where do you think, or where can you recommend I invest? A lot of us are just getting biased information from the people we are asking, because if that person you're asking is biased towards certain things, they'll just tell you, okay, this works. But what worked for John may not work for Peter or for Jerry. Do you understand? So it's really important that you clarify. The easiest way to find out where the best place of investing is figuring out what you want. And it's 3 major things. What do I want? The thing. By when do I want it? The timeline. How much will it cost me? The amount. Are we clear? Can I repeat that? What do I want? The thing. Okay, so you need to define the thing. By when do I want it? The timeline. So do I have 3 months to get there? Do I have 20 years to get there? Do I have 5 years to be able to achieve this goal? And then how much will it cost me? If a financial goal does not have those 3 things, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. You're not planning well. You're not going to get the right numbers. Neither are you going to get the right investment recommendations. That's what we call smart goal setting. All right. So when you're working around your goals, you need to have those 3 pieces of information down to even retirement age. Even when you're trying to calculate retirement, we ask you, when do you want to retire? How much money do you want to be coming in monthly? Right? At what age will you be educating children? Will you be in your home? Will you still have, some years left of working and consultancy? What are we working with? That way we are able to do proper planning. So I'm going to really, really encourage you guys. We are in October now. It's almost coming to the end of the year. Please begin clarifying very clearly what your goals are. And if you struggle with this, guys, this is one of the things that we do during my 90 minutes consultation session. I'm actually going to be leaving a link down in the description box, because as I've been working with people, I've realized a lot of us really, really, really struggle with that aspect of financial planning, the goal setting bit. I can work with you on that during a 90 minutes consultation session. We can do your budget. We can do your medium-term goals, your short-term goals, your long-term goals. And then, of course, from there, you can live with some form of clarity, knowing that, okay, if this is what I'm working towards, then you can even go home now with homework to find out how much it would cost you. And then we can begin to work backwards to now see what you need to be investing in. You also need to get your documentation, your banking, and your financial house in order. And I think we did a video, probably, it could be 3 weeks ago, for my Kenyans in the diaspora. A lot of this is really, really affecting Kenyans in the diaspora, where you find that our documentation is not right, our banking or our access, especially if you desire to invest back in your home country. Let's assume you're a Kenyan living in the diaspora, or just an African living in the diaspora. It is really, really important that you get your paperwork in order and your banking in order. And one of the things that I have found really, really works well is that, and create what we call a legacy folder. And this is really, really important. Have all your documents done well, a well done scanned copy of your ID. I can't believe that we have to talk about this, guys. But unfortunately, with what I'm seeing as we are trying to set up some accounts for some of my clients, trust me, you may not think it is relevant to you, but it's relevant to a lot of people. Please get proper scanned copies of your ID. Get proper scanned copy of your KRA PIN certificate. Get proper scanned copies of, your passport sized photos, just the bare minimums that are required. Know your banks, which ones are active, close inactive dormant bank accounts. What are they doing there? And make sure that you have you have, of course, your ATM if that works for you. But most importantly, especially because now we live in a digital era, please make sure you have mobile banking access. And sometimes when there's downtime, mobile banking, make sure your USSD is activated if you're in the country. If not, make sure you also have internet banking. It's really, really important. These things we ignore. They sound and they look small, but they're really, really important. Get all your documents in a nicely done folder. Keep them. Okay. The other thing you need to do is make sure that you have very well done documentation, your scanned copies, keep them in that same folder. As you keep opening these accounts, like, where is your paperwork for the initial money market fund you opened? Where is your paperwork for that policy that you have, your life insurance and these other ones that I don't like so much, but a lot of us still have them and we are paying for them. So it would be good to have the copies of the policy document that you signed when you opened that education policy, that endowment plans. Because sometimes even when I'm coaching some of my clients, we will be looking for a document and we can't find it during the session because he or she cannot remember where she put it. And that initial document contains important information like, what are your bonuses? What is your sum assured for this policy? What are the terms and conditions? If we are trying to pull out, if we are trying to, these things are really, really important. So even if you fill documentation for a simple money market fund, for opening a special fund, keep these things all in one folder. In case we really need to follow up on something, it makes it really, really easy. Okay? Another thing I'm going to encourage you, you may not have the money right now, but you may know somewhere along the year or next year, you intend on, let's say, buying a bond. Could you please, especially for the accounts that do not require a lot of money to open, simple money market funds, most of them require at least 5,000 and below. And I know some of them require even just 100 bob, 500 bob, 1,000. Just put in the commitment, do the paperwork and open that account. You may not have money right now, but you know you have the intention of doing this in the foreseeable future or in the near future. As you're putting your house in order, as you're clearing your loans, please just have that account open. Sometimes you get a windfall, or sometimes you get a gift or an allowance or a per diem or a bonus. As long as there's a system in place to actually hold the money, then it could accelerate, or it could just give you the sense of, oh, I don't have to sit with this money in my bank account. I have this account that I had opened, and you can just send the money there. Another account that I would recommend that you open, because it costs nothing to open, is your DAO CSD account. If you're interested in buying treasury bills and bonds here in Kenya, again, there's no maintenance fee for that kind of an account. You could always have it open with, put even the bare minimum amount, buy a treasury bill for 50,000 or for whatever amount of money that you have before you can now get to the big money and buy the bonds in the millions. At least you have the account open. Again, the reason I say this is because sometimes even in the bonds market, we have, for example, an infrastructural bond that just comes up. And by the time you've done your paperwork, you've filled in the forms, your account has been activated, now the bond has already expired. Some of us are missing opportunities because we don't even have the accounts open in the first place. So please make sure that you have all your paperwork done. Please make sure also that you're checking in terms of credibility. Are the companies that you're investing in licensed by the necessary regulatory bodies? So we are talking the Central Bank of Kenya, the Capital Markets Authority, the Retirement Benefits Authority, IRA, which is the Insurance Regulatory Authority, SASRA for SACCOs. Please make sure you're working with licensed and regulated institutions, even as you're working on your paperwork. Another thing that I think is really, really important as you're beginning your investment journey, please begin to have in mind issues to do with your what we call the next of kin or beneficiaries. In some of these accounts, all they've actually asked you is your next of kin. There's a difference between next of kin and beneficiary. Next of kin is almost like someone who can be reached out to or found if for some reason they're not able to reach you. But beneficiaries are if I'm dead right now, or pretty much if I'm not alive and succession needs to be done. Beneficiaries are the people that I've indicated should receive my money in the eventuality of my death. So please be careful on the paperwork that you're filling in. And I also recommend people to review this on an annual basis. Maybe you were married and now you're no longer married and you no longer want that person to be a beneficiary. Please remove that person. Check your beneficiaries every year. Maybe you are single and now you're married and you want to add your spouse. And we've had this conversation before where HRMs tell me that some of us don't even put our spouses. A married man has married, now he has 3 children, but for some reason, the beneficiary to his pension is still his mommy. Or vice versa, it could also be women. Your beneficiary is not your children, not your husband, is your mother or your father or your brother. So I think, well, if you want to keep it that way, well and good, we don't judge over here. But all I'm just saying is that pay attention to who you've put down as beneficiaries. And because life changes and the dynamics of life change, make sure you're updating your paperwork and you're updating your beneficiaries accordingly. I would like to take a minute on our 6th point to talk about working with trusted partners and regulated bodies. Obviously, we've already spoken about making sure that they are licensed and that they are regulated. But I think I would want to speak as to whether these entities are trusted. And I would want to specifically discuss transparency, track record, and ease of exiting the investment. You want to make sure that that is really, really clear, because much as some of these companies are licensed and regulated, because of the kind of country and the kind of continent some of us are in, these bodies sometimes may not have such detailed oversight, because we've seen companies that have the license, the CMA license, they're regulated, but with the way that they're doing their dealings, some clients have lost money. So please make sure that you're not just doing return chasing. As you begin to start on your investment journey, you want to ensure that you've checked, do these people have a proven track record of generating good returns for their clients? Do they have good customer service? Have they ensured that, there's transparency in terms of financials, there's transparency in terms of the underlying assets of the investments? Where is my money being invested? How easy is it to enter? How easy is it to exit from the investment? I think it is really, really important, because we have very, very good investments, but some of them have lock-in periods. Some of them you cannot liquidate in the short term. And a lot of us do not have or ask for that information or use that information to make informed decisions as to what kind of money, what amount should be going into this particular investment if there's a lock-in period, or if I can't liquidate it before this time, or if I liquidate, then there's a particular amount of money that I'm going to have to lose. All right. So I think that is really, really important. Most important to say is that in the spirit of return chasing, a lot of us do not even go to the nitty-gritties of the reputation of this company. We have companies that have very horrible reputations, especially here in Kenya. But because they are offering high returns, I'm seeing a lot of Kenyans, especially my Kenyans in the diaspora, putting money there because these people have a marketing budget to appeal to you and to come to you and sell you product ABC. But the truth of the matter is that even if you just did a simple Google search before you decide to put your investments in that company, you will see scandals, you will see court cases, you will see clients not even getting paid, people to date who have still lost money with that company. But because they're offering you high returns and they've marketed to you in the diaspora or even here locally, you've just decided to go with them. Guys, please use trusted partners, especially when you're starting your journey. A lot of us started with the wrong people, with the wrong companies. We got banned. And that is why no one can convince us to put money in the financial markets. And yet, financial markets have been thriving for years ago and even for years to come. They will continue to thrive. So starting with the wrong partners will impact how much of your money and how much of your confidence is going to be in the financial market. And the people who make the most money have confidence in this market. They've invested in them, but they do it wisely. So please make sure that you work with trusted partners. I think the last and the seventh thing that I'm going to say is cultivating patience and a long-term mindset. I've said this and I'm gonna have to continue saying it, is that investing is a long game. It's playing chess and not checkers. Okay? Never ever look at investments as a get rich quickly scheme. In fact, I steer clear of people who tell me that I'm gonna make money faster in this particular thing than I would in the ordinary or in the general market, or rather what is the average return on this particular investment or this particular asset. If someone is actually telling you that there's another alternative way to make wealth faster, I steer clear from those things, because guys, I like to give this example. Imagine people who are in the financial space, like myself and many other professionals that we have here in Kenya, who have gone to school. They are educated your undergrad was probably in finance. You understand investment assets. You've probably worked in an investment firm. You probably still continue to do so. We even have advisors in the global space that are in very, very lucrative markets. Imagine these people are very, very well educated and they have so much good information, right? If it was that easy to make money overnight, if they just traded or they started doing Forex or they started doing Bitcoin or crypto, then most of us would have retired within the first 5 to 10 years of our careers, because we have the information. We went to school for this thing. We practice it in our day-to-day work. Then it would have just been so easy. Right? Now, for a lot of us, someone comes to you with this shiny new object or shiny new plan, and they tell you, this thing is not, don't do these ones. These ones are so slow, they'll never make you money. These money market funds are so slow. These bonds are so slow. These mutual funds are not it. I want to show you something that can actually make you money faster. That person is going to lose you money. That company is going to lose you money, because if it was that easy, then all financial advisors or all the people who are trained in portfolio management would have retired, because they have the information, they have the access, they'd have just done it, right? The best way to grow wealth, guys, and I've said this before, is growing it slowly. It's not fancy. I know it's not nice for us to hear, but we are not here to say what our itching ears want to hear. We are here to provide accurate information and sustainable financial literacy practices. Okay? And the reason we say, I have nothing against you having this amazing big deal or amazing big payday. You invest, you get lucky. And that happens even in the stock market today. I've invested in this particular share. I didn't think it was going to perform so well, and it does. That's good. It's luck. Okay? And it happens. But overall, the best way to grow wealth is to grow it slowly. It's to grow it strategically. Why? Because that is what is sustainable. But anything that requires you to do weird things out of the ordinary, for you to take out money for your children's school fees, for you to liquidate money that is in your pension fund because someone has told you, oh, these pension funds are very low risk. Let me show you. You lose your entire retirement fund money. And I'm seeing this a lot with our retirees. Can we have one day a kakona? I think I can organize a coffee. Ebu, let me know in the comment section. For the people who are in their 50s, 60s, later 60s, going into 70s, who have either now started slowing down or you're doing your retirement plan. If I organize a small coffee for you guys, would you come? I feel like we really need to have a chat. Especially because we have these lump sums that we are getting either from our previous employers, from some work we've done, and we are now trying to figure out what to do. I'm seeing people risking it all for things that would lose them half, if not more, of that money. We need to make better decisions. As much as returns are good, returns are exciting, they're not just exciting for you, they're also really, really exciting for me as well. But we need to act with wisdom. We need to act with precision. We need to diversify for risk, and we need to do that by choosing different investments that have different risk levels. So that even on the worst case scenario, whatever it is that you've dedicated to high risk, if it doesn't work out, you still have a fallback plan. Okay, so please, let's stop doing emotional investing. I know some people are very, very good salespeople. I've met them. They speak to you and you feel like you want to withdraw your money now, so that you can get that deal, so that you can get that much money that you've not been able to make all of those years that you've been working and you've been earning. But when you do it because of the fear of missing out, or when you do it because you feel like these other investments are not giving me a very high return, and therefore you make emotional decisions and you do not diversify your investments and your choices, the risk of you losing your money, the risk of you being scammed is extremely, extremely high. Patience is an underrated investment skill and an underrated investment strategy. We all need to practice it. And it has worked very well in the past for other people. So please have realistic expectations when it comes to your returns. Educate yourself on some of these things. Money market funds right now in Kenya typically are at 9 to 11. I know they have done better before, but that's where we are right now. The treasury bonds are roughly around 13, 14, 15 if we are very lucky. They've been higher, but that is where we are today. Okay, the stock market at least is starting to perform a little bit better, but we know there are fluctuations. It is really, really important to educate yourself. Real estate return, unless in very high traffic areas, is roughly around 6% on rentals. It's not as lucrative. The real estate investment trusts are also doing roughly around the same. You really, really need to educate yourself on what the market averages are in Kenya or even in the country that you are, so that you can manage your expectations. So that when someone comes and tells you you'll make 40% return, you ask yourself a question. In fact, you ask yourself 3 questions before you decide to actually go ahead and invest somewhere where someone has promised you 40% returns. Ask yourself, what are they doing with this money? Okay, where is this money being invested that it's significantly outperforming the market average in the country or in the market that you're investing in? So please always just review your decisions, adjust your decisions. Consult on any and all levels. If you're not well versed with these things, please consult. If you guys are able to follow those simple 7 recommendations before you actively start investing, I believe you will really have a seamless experience. Obviously, every journey has its own ups and downs, but I've always recommended that you learn from other people's experiences. Learn from this channel. I really do share and give a lot of information that I really live by and I also believe in. So it's really important that you work with advisors who have your best interest at heart. So if you're on the fence, maybe you have some funds lying around, you've been trying to research by yourself and you do not know where to invest, you're not well versed with the idea of goal setting, goal-based investing even, you're not familiar with the investments that are around, or you just want someone to work with you. As I said, I'm going to leave 2 links in the description box down below. If you would just prefer a one-off session, we do have the 90 minutes consultation session. This is a power session. It's on Zoom, and I recommend this for people who just have a few questions. They would like to pick my brain on something, and they would want to get advice from me on the next step that they want to make. This session is 10,000 for the 90 minutes consult. You can click the link in the description box down below to book a class or a session with me. If you're more interested in a more long-term commitment, we also have a personal finance accountability program. It's up on the screen right now. You can see that we have, tailored guidance and accountability. We have monthly Zoom sessions, and the minimum commitment is actually 3 months. So you can either work with me for 3 months, or if you require a little bit more support, we also support you for a duration of 6 months. This is really the best of my programs, really, because it gives me enough time to guide you from end to end, all the way from learning and doing the budget together, to structuring your investment goals, to helping you open the accounts, and really just supporting you throughout the 3 months or the 6 months that we are going to be working together. In fact, most of my clients, after coming to the accountability program, they are really able to stand on their own and probably just need check-ins, probably even just once a year, because they've been able to open all the necessary bank accounts. We've streamlined their budgets. They are no longer confused about where to put the money, where to take it, how to distribute their hard-earned money, because we already did that. So if you're more interested in the long-term coaching, I'm also going to be leaving the link in the description box for the personal finance accountability program. As a parting shot, again, I've asked you guys 2 questions. Do you remember them? If you're in a table banking group, please let me know in the comment section how it works. I'm very curious. And for the retirees who've been watching my channel, especially the ones who are based around Kenya and East Africa, I'm really thinking of doing a short breakfast or lunch or dinner with you guys. I just want to see if you'd be interested in the same. I really want to do some few things to assist some of you in terms of better financial planning for your upcoming retirement years, and also some of the pension money that you could be receiving. So please let me know also in the comment section. I really hope you loved this video and enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section, and please remember to share this with your friends if you care, so that we can all get financially literate and woke. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Finance Friday.